Arsenal were in control of their own destiny. They were fourth. They were comfortable. They got to exactly where they needed to be. They were in form. They were winning games. And everyone was talking about Arteta, manager of the season. And since then, they've gone and lost 3 games to Palace, Southampton, and Brighton right before a really tricky run of fixtures. Hugh, is this the end for Arteta and Arsenal's top 4 race?
Well, they're going to have to show a lot better form than they've shown in the last 3 games. I mean, it's not over. I think they're good enough. They've been hampered by injuries as well, of course. Look, everyone said at the start of the year, when they got rid of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, where are the goals going to come from? And then they went on a run where they won loads of games. It didn't seem to be an issue. And people said, oh, who cares about Aubameyang? Arsenal have improved. You know, he's gone and done his thing at Barcelona, but we're not exactly in a bad position. We don't need him. And look at how things have turned out over the last 3 games. Games that you would have expected them to win, create plenty of chances in, and put the ball away. I mean, I couldn't see it happening. I genuinely couldn't. They were points ahead with games in hand, not just 1, 2 or 3 games in hand on Spurs and Manchester United. They were ahead of West Ham on points, and you thought it's theirs to lose. And they've lost it. I mean, they've Spursied it. They've bottled it. I mean, there's a very good chance that they won't finish in the top 4. And these 3 defeats could be enough in the end. It might come down to goal difference. It might come down to 1 point, possibly. And they've handed the initiative to their rivals. I can't even believe Man United are so close to them in the table. That's just outrageous. Tottenham Hotspur lost as well. And you're thinking if they've won that game, then they're virtually guaranteeing themselves a place in the top 4. Of course, we know they're going to play one another, Tottenham and Arsenal, towards the end of the season. It might come down to that. If they play how they've played in the last 3 games, they're not going to beat Tottenham. And that is despite Tottenham's defeat to Brighton at the weekend, which I think, in terms of their recent form, was a bit of a one-off. When you go into a huge game here against Chelsea for Arsenal, it's must win now. Previously, a point's a good result. They need to win this match, and they've got even tougher games to come. Oh, I think they've given it away. I don't want to criticise Arteta. It's a young, inexperienced squad, but my word, it was there. It was in your hands.
The worry really is the fixtures. Arsenal, Chelsea, United, West Ham, and Spurs to play. And as I said at the start, these were the 3 games they should have won. In reality, if we looked at these 3 games, you'd say maybe you'd win 2 and draw 1. You get a 4 or 5 point gap. You can afford to lose against Chelsea. You can even afford to lose against Spurs if you want to, as long as you get points against United and West Ham. But now they're in a situation where they're looking at Spurs and thinking Spurs play Leicester, Liverpool and Arsenal, but generally Spurs' run is very, very comfortable. They're probably hoping Spurs go on a really bad run now, having lost to Brighton. But I can't explain my frustration at Arsenal because it felt like they had both hands gripped on the 4th spot. And people were talking about them chasing down Chelsea in 3rd. That's the maddest thing. That was only 2 or 3 weeks ago. And now we're in a situation where it feels like, well, if Arsenal don't win every single game, which is very unlikely, they're probably not going to finish 4th. And as Hugh just said, Manchester United are somehow still in this race for top 4, which for Arsenal fans must be... you must be tearing your hair out because you either lose top 4 to United, who certainly don't deserve to be there, or Spurs, your arch rivals, or West Ham, who are the absolute outsiders when you were right on the money for it. You guys let us know. Are Arsenal going to make top 4? Will it be Spurs? Will it be United? Or could it still be West Ham?
So there's a massive game to come for Arsenal at Stamford Bridge. And I've got to say, I think after the weekend, there will be more of a buoyant mood and the performance in the Champions League, despite the exit against Real Madrid. The Chelsea fans, right behind their team, they're feeling like they can play a good style of football against Arsenal and get the job done. And you can't really look past them at this stage. I don't see Arsenal's form as being good enough, but you never know. What do you think?
Well, the problem for Arsenal is they're probably going to have to play Nuno Tavares or Xhaka at left back. We've already seen how problematic that is for them. And then they come up against Tuchel, who's a master at picking on other opposition's weaknesses. And Chelsea have so many options in wide areas. And Reece James is back as well. So that area will be a big problem for Arsenal. The worry really for Arsenal is they lose Tierney and it feels like it all falls to pieces. And I don't think that's just to do with him. It's just to do with the fact they don't have anyone else in that position. Southampton caused them all kinds of problems. And I just think Timo Werner's coming into form. And I did say a few weeks ago, if you go on my Twitter, this is Timo's time. Timo's time has come when there's no one else there. So I fear for Arsenal. It's a must-win game as well, so they can't come out and hope for a draw and then plan for the next few fixtures, because then they have United, then they play West Ham, then they play Tottenham as well. Not in that order, but they have got them towards the end of the season. And they're out of goals. Eddie Nketiah starts in the last game and doesn't look like he's going to score. Saka's form has been very good for the majority of the season, but they're over-reliant on him to do something now. Chelsea, though, I don't know how you feel about this, Hugh. Chelsea have nothing to play for in the league. So in a lot of ways, Chelsea could just turn up and take their foot off the gas. They've just made the FA Cup final. And maybe that's the way Arsenal get through this game.
Yeah, I don't see it happening just yet. I think that sort of feeling will creep in as we approach the FA Cup final. I think there'll be more rotation. You might see players that don't start as often, and some of those older players in Chelsea squad being saved for that final, and that might affect their form. But actually, I still think they're on a bit of a high after Wembley at the weekend. Of course, there will be changes because there hasn't been that long since the match to this game. But generally speaking, they have more quality, Chelsea. And even some of those players who haven't been starting regularly that have come in, I think they're probably still better than a lot of Arsenal's players. And if not, just on talent, just a little bit more experienced, a little bit more shrewd. Their manager, the same when you compare him with Mikel Arteta as well, who I think is emerging as a coach, but clearly Thomas Tuchel is one of the best in the world. I mean, what sort of game plan, very quickly? I mean, how do you think Arsenal approach this game? Because I think Chelsea control the possession. I think their pressing is better. I think their intensity will be higher. And that means that they'll swarm Arsenal, really. There won't be that many opportunities for them. But again, this game has in the past thrown up some great results.
I don't particularly feel as though Arsenal will be able to play the way they want to play. And that will be trying to play out from the back, because the problem they've had with that is when you're playing Sambi Lokonga in midfield, as good as he has actually been statistically in possession, he doesn't want to get pressed, and Kovacic is a monster presser. They've got Kante as well. So if you haven't got Xhaka in there and you haven't got Partey in there, I think them two guys really do make the base of that Arsenal team and allow them to play. Then Arsenal are going to really struggle to play through Chelsea. They're going to be hoping for moments from Saka or Ødegaard or Martinelli, who is a bit of a trump card, a bit of an ace in the hole, but you never know with Arsenal. They could turn up and lose this game 5-0, and you're left thinking, my God, there's no way Arsenal deserve a top four. Or they could turn up and nick this 1-0. But this, if Arsenal are to win it, it's going to be a 1-0 win. It's going to be a hard-fought victory if they can get it over the line. But for me, Chelsea are massive favourites. I would predict that it ends 2-0 to Chelsea. What do you reckon, Hugh?
I'm going 3-0, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, I think it's going to be a good night's work for Thomas Tuchel's side. Let us know what you think, though, in the comments. Are we totally off, Arsenal fans? Do you think your side can get the result and put that top four race back on track? Let us know what you think. Hi, I'm Hugh Woozencroft from ESPN's Football Forecast. Make sure you're subscribed. You can follow all of our predictions throughout the season and get some other great analysis from our big names as well.